Welcome to Whippoorwill Holler. I'm Miss Lori, and this is Mr. Brown. We live in the hills of Arkansas. We love the Lord. Keepers of the old way, but accept some of the new. We love to cook, and we love to eat. We love to garden. It's in our blood. It's how we stay sustainable and fill our pantry. We do a lot of canning and preserving. We live a sustainable life. We love our family. We work hard. And every once in a while, we like to dance. So y'all join us. With my handy dandy little chopper here, we're going to be chopping up a bunch of bell peppers and onions. You can use any bell peppers that you have, whether it's green, orange, yellow, or red. And I've been chopping up some as I go about every day, so I've got a bunch of them already chopped up. I don't know what I'd do without this chopper. It has been a game changer for me. I've had this thing for probably 5 or 6 years, and it really helps, especially during the garden season when you're having to put a lot of stuff up and having to do a lot of chopping. This is probably one of the first ones they ever made, probably, because it's an old one, but they probably have better ones by now. If I can find the link below, or if I can find the link, I'll leave it down below, So I've got some green chilies here that I'm going to be using, about a little over a cup. Now I'm going to start chopping up some green tomatoes out of the garden. You can use green tomatoes. If you have some zucchini or yellow squash, you can chop or shred that up. I'm just going to do about 4 green tomatoes. If you're using zucchini, depends on what size. Probably do a couple medium zucchinis and maybe 3 or 4 yellow squash that you can either chop up. I usually shred my zucchini or, the squash if I'm putting that in there. But I'm going to be chopping up the green tomatoes to put in there, about 4 of them. Now, we're going to be doing our cabbage, and I like to use my little processor for that. This is a large head of cabbage, and we're just going to get it processed and get it ready with the rest of our stuff. Let's go over some of our ingredients. We got our large head of cabbage shredded. We got 3 cups of sugar. We got our green chilies or jalapenos, whichever you're using. A little over a cup. We've got 1/4 cup of canning salt. I've got 5 cups of distilled vinegar. About 4 green tomatoes chopped up. And of course, a ton of onions and bell peppers. That's what makes the Chow Chow so good. That was about 5 onions and 4 or 5 bell peppers, I believe. And I'm using Superb canning lids today. They are my favorite. And that's an old jar of my leftover Chow Chow. So, I'm using a steam bath today instead of water bathing too. So let's get started. So what is Southern Chow Chow? Southern Chow Chow is a condiment. It's a relish that a lot of us here in the South, and I'm sure even up north in different parts of the countries, y'all make your own kind of Chow Chow. What's the difference between a Chow Chow and a relish, just a pickle relish? Well, pickle relish is just made out of cucumbers. Where your Chow Chow, a lot of times the women would make it at the end of the garden season, and they would use up their leftover cabbages or even shredded squash. You can use shredded squash, zucchini in this recipe. Say you had some green tomatoes or even red tomatoes out on the vine, and it was just bell peppers, stuff like that, onions. So it's just a mixture of these things to make up a really good Chow Chow, like a relish. And how do you eat this? You would eat it, we eat it like with our pinto beans, our black-eyed peas as a side to that. You can use it as a regular relish. You can put it in your potato salad, in your chicken salad. You can eat it on a hot dog. You can eat it on top of a hamburger. It's just so versatile and so good. But it's a really good, Chow Chow is just a really good thing to make up. It's so easy too. At the end of garden season is when it's really a good thing, because you can gather up all this stuff that you've already been putting up all summer, and you just need to do something with it. And it preserves really well. I've got my last jar here of Chow Chow that I made 4 years ago, and this is my last jar, so I need to be making up some more for sure. So it does have a good shelf life too. Now, if you don't, I'm going to be steam canning mine. Ever since I bought this steam canner, that's all I do anymore instead of water bath, unless I have to pressure can something. But so it's a really good method of canning your pickles or your tomato products, stuff like jellies and stuff like that. Really does a good job. But anyways, I've still got some cabbages that I need to put up, just a few, and this recipe calls for 1 large head of cabbage, so we're going to be using that up. And then as far as the recipe calls for, like either hot or mild chilies, like your jalapenos. We don't like spicy, but if you do, just know that you can use a hot jalapeno on this. What I done is I had several cans of what we call, it's just chopped up green chilies that I use in my soups, my taco soup, stuff like my chilies and stuff. I had several cans of that in my pantry, so I'm using the green chilies in mine. In fact, there's about a cup, there's a little over a cup probably of my green chilies. Now, the thing about this recipe is you can spice it up the way you want to. If you don't want that much of like jalapenos in your Chow Chow, just put and use a mild. If you're like me and you can't use hot peppers, don't do it. Of course, I've got my chopped up green tomatoes that there's about 4 here that's going to be going in there. And I've been chopping up. Now, this is the thing about this Chow Chow. There's a lot of onions and there's a lot of bell peppers in here. And I think that's the reason I really love this recipe, because I love the taste of the onions and the bell peppers in this Chow Chow, because that's what goes so good with your beans and on top of your hot dogs and stuff like that, or your potato salad. So I love a lot of onion and bell pepper. I will have this recipe down under the video in my information, down below the video, under the description of the video. So know that my recipes are always down there. So let's get started and let's make us some Southern Chow Chow. How is this going to be so easy? Because everything is going in the pot, and all you're going to have to do is bring it up to a boil and boil it for about 25 minutes. And a lot of recipes, like my freezer slaw, now I'm putting in here 5 cups of pickling vinegar. You would take your cabbage and you would salt it down anywhere from 2 hours to overnight. You don't have to do that with this recipe. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my fire on. And we're just going to start adding everything to it. I'm going to add my 3 cups of sugar. If you want to, you can use a sugar substitute in this recipe. I've also got 1/4 cup of pickling salt. I'm just going to stir this up a little bit and let it come to a little bit of a simmer, enough to kind of dissolve the sugar a little bit. But this is just a 1-pot Chow Chow. But there's not a lot of different processes to it, is what I'm trying to say. So you're going to add your large head of cabbage. When I say large, just have at least 10 cups of your chopped up cabbage. I mean, if you're minus a cup or so, it's okay. Now, that 3 cups of sugar, I know that sounds like a lot, but once you put all your ingredients in here, it's really, it's not that much. We won't be adding anything like water or anything to that. This is not, it's not like a brine, really. I'm going to mix all that up. I like my Chow Chow just like my coleslaw. I do like for it to have a little bite to it. You know, crunchiness is what I mean. If you pressure canned it, it would not have that crunch to it. But all you have to do is water bath can this recipe. So I've got, now this is optional too with your cabbage. You don't have to put any green tomatoes in here. Like I said, if you wanted to, you could put some shredded up zucchini or yellow squash in it, would be just fine. But I'm just going to put some of these. Y'all, it's very hard for me. When I see them beautiful big tomatoes out there on the vine, it's so hard for me to pick one while it's green. Even for my Chow Chow, it was just killing me because I thought, oh, man, be so good on a sandwich or a hamburger. I just can't hardly do it. Of course, I've got enough out there, but it kills me to pick them green tomatoes instead of letting them ripen. But for this, I will. Now, once you get all this in here, and I'll let y'all look in here in just a minute, and you feel like you might need to add a little bit more vinegar in it, please do so. It's not going to hurt it. Okay, my green chili, or what they're calling hot peppers. 2 hot peppers chopped up. Like I said, I'm using, let's see, there's probably about 12 ounces of chopped up green chilies, mild, that was in my pantry, and that's what I'm using to put in here. But if you have fresh jalapenos, just chop up a couple of good sized ones, put in here. If you don't want any heat at all, don't put any jalapenos in it at all. Just put a little extra bell pepper in it or something like that. I love the smell of green chilies. And I love the mild ones because it just gives it a really good taste, but it doesn't give it all that heat, which me and Mr. Brown we just can't do. Okay, so what do we like? We like our onions and bell peppers that I have had chopped up for a while and put back. And this is what really, to me, makes this Chow Chow, is all the bell peppers and all the onions put in here. Let's see. I cut up about 4 really large onions, and I cut up probably 5 or 6 medium bell peppers. So let me get y'all down here, and I want y'all to see this mixture. It is beautiful. It's really pretty. I may add just a little more vinegar to it, only because, now this is going to cook down. We'll just have to see. What I'm saying is I want to make sure that I've got plenty of my acidity in there. You know, when I say cut up a large head of cabbage, make it to where it measures out about 10 cups of your shredded cabbage. About 3 or 4 green tomatoes or zucchini or squash that you've chopped up or shredded. Then your bell peppers, your onions, and once you get all that in there, sometimes You know, the volume's a little more than what you expected, so you may have to add. And what I will do too is once this cooks, you know, I'm going to bring it up to a boil and then simmer it for about 25 minutes. I'll taste it and make sure that, you know, the sugar's good and everything. Because that sugar is what's going to make this Chow Chow too. So, like I said, you can use a sugar substitute too. So let me bring y'all in so you can see how beautiful it is. It's come to a really good simmer, a hard simmer. So I'm going to set my timer for 25 minutes. And I'm going to come back and stir it ever so often. Okay, I want you to see how our Chow Chow has cooked down within just 25 minutes. And everything has softened up. The cabbage, the green tomatoes, the peppers, everything has softened up really good. But they still have that bite to it, that little bit of crispiness. Show on the road and get these canned up. So I've got my hot jars, my hot Chow Chow. You won't have to put anything else in your jars, just your Chow Chow. Now to this Chow Chow, because I do have another video, and it'll be down in the description box of making Chow Chow 4 years ago. In fact, that's where the sliced jar come from. And I added a lot of different spices to it. I'm going to leave about a ½ inch headspace on those. But anyways, I put like mustard seed, turmeric, just different things like that. I didn't want to do this one that way, and this is why. I wanted to come in here and make Chow Chow without anybody having to go to the store to buy anything. Just out of the garden stuff. If you didn't have yellow mustard seed or, you know, or turmeric or anything like that, it's not a worry. You don't have to put it in there. So this is just straight out of the pantry, out of the garden. Nothing that you had to run the store for. But if you want to put turmeric, if you want to put mustard seed in it, all them different spices, please feel free to do it. Make it your own Chow Chow. This is just kind of like your basic old-fashioned Chow Chow that they would have made knowing that they had to use what they had. They may not have always had pickling spice, you know, on hand. That would be something they would have to do without. Now, I always have dill in my garden growing for pickling for my, because I don't can pickles. I make refrigerator pickles. That's our favorite. We don't eat a lot of pickles. We probably eat more relish for sure than we do pickles. So I do have a video making refrigerator pickles, and they are so wonderful. And I will put all of my canning videos down below my video, where you see the description of the video. Underneath there'll be the word more, and you click on it and my information will show up, and there'll be a playlist and links and stuff to canning, all my canning, different things that I've canned. I've got a video making corn relish that everybody just absolutely loves. It's just an old-fashioned corn relish recipe, and anybody that made that recipe said they absolutely loved it, and that made me so happy because it is one of mine and Danny's favorites. Corn relish is just like Chow Chow. It's something that's so versatile that you can use in so many different things that you make, whether if you're using it as in a salad or a condiment for hot dogs, or just a side dish. It's so that corn relish is just something else. It's one of my favorites. So if you're interested in that, please go down and find the playlist, and it'll be in there. So I'm trying hard to leave ½ inch headspace. I may have to go back, and I may have to add some brine to each one of these jars, which is fine. My big, I love this, y'all. This is a big handmade wooden spoon, and it's made out of this was made in 2022. Now I bought this in Springfield, Missouri at that big farmers market that they have during the spring and summer, and I think fall. They have a lot of different, just a lot of different booths there of your local people and even people that come in that make handmade products. This one is made, it says, because he puts on the back of his spoons what wood he used for that spoon, and this says mango. And he gets his wood from just all over the world, I guess, from what way he talked. But I don't think I can get a link to this one. The next time that I go to Springfield and I'm able to go to that big flea market, I'm going to look him up and I'm going to try to get all of his information. Now, I know before I left there that I did get a card, but you know what? Miss Lori's misplaced it, of course. So, I got 8 pints, and I've got plenty in here, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to can the 8 pints, and I'm going to put the rest in the refrigerator, because there's just enough for probably another pint, but there's no sense me when we're fixing to eat it. I'm just going to put it in the refrigerator. Or I could cool this down, put it in the freezer. Either one. But I will put this in a pint, the rest of it in a pint jar, and I'm just going to stick it in the fridge. In fact, I'm probably going to eat some of it tonight. Now, if you didn't even want to water bath this or steam bath it, you could actually put these pint quart jars, you know, do all the cleaning and put the lids on, make sure they're on there good. Let your jars cool off completely. Put all of them in the refrigerator somewhere out of the way. And they will stay good because they are a vinegar base. And they've got, of course, canning salt in there. But even without the salt, they would stay in the refrigerator. I have got pickles in there that are over a year, that when you open that lid, they're still just as crisp and good as they was a year ago when I put them in there. And that's the one good thing about refrigeration, that you can do things like that. So I may have just a little bit too much in that one. But as you push the top down, you just want to make sure that the brine is over your product. And like we talked about, Chow Chow can be just so many different things out of the garden. And it's so versatile to eat with so many different things. Today I'm going to be using, I don't remember if I mentioned it or not, but I'm using my superb lids. These are my favorite. I love them, y'all. Now I'm just going to take, I've got my steamer back here, steam canner. I've got me some, now I've got, you're allowed to put so much water in the bottom of this. What I do is I fill just enough water up to, there is a, of course, the thing that you set your jars in. So what I do is I put just enough water that comes up to the bottom of that, and then I put about a tablespoon of vinegar, because I have very hard water, and even steam bath it, it'll make my jars real milky looking on the outside because of that. Somebody asked me one day why I use vinegar and why so many people use vinegar to wipe the rims. Now, vinegar is not a disinfectant, y'all. No matter what you've seen on the internet or anything else. It is a cleaner, but it's not a disinfectant. So it's not something that you have to use. You can use just some warm water. You don't have to use vinegar. Like I said, it's not a disinfectant. You can Google it and look it up. It's just a good cleaner, not a disinfectant. So just want to make sure that you get the tops good and clean, because you don't want any stickiness or anything on there that might keep your lid from sealing. I got my superb lids over here. Oh, debubble. What do I do with my debubbler? You know, if there's anything, I have to wash myself sometimes. If I don't get my debubbler out, sometimes I will forget. So see, I got ahead of myself wiping my rims, but that's okay. Just going to debubble it by going in and out, getting some of the air pushed up to the top. You could even put some of y'all that like things spicy, or if your husband really likes things spicy, whatever, you could add your jalapenos, your hot jalapenos. Plus, if you wanted to, you could add just a little bit of red pepper flakes too. Just season it, taste it, season it. Especially when it gets about 20 minutes into the cooking time. Go in there and taste it and say, well, I think I'd like a little more sugar. I think I'd like to put some turmeric in it, which turmeric is so good for you. I'd like to put a little bit of garlic in it. Y'all, you can do those things. Don't never have enough confidence in yourself, because if it's just like cooking. If you're in there and you're cooking and you're tasting as you go, and I'm usually full by the time supper time gets around because I've tasted everything. And you get it just right where you want it. Well, this is the same thing here. So I just want to put this on finger tight. Get it in my steamer bath. Oops. I'll get these out of the way. And get the process going, because I am really busy today. Danny is with his mama. This is his day to sit with his mother, take care of her till someone else can take over. When he goes on the early shift of helping with his mother, he always takes, usually he'll take, now he will make biscuits, y'all, but he'd rather just take a can of biscuits, because his mama does like canned biscuits, just the little can. And he usually takes sausage, and he'll make her and him a little bit of sausage gravy. She loves his sausage gravy, y'all, and I do too. Everybody does. He just does a good job. So I think, you know, she's not remembering things, you know, very well at all. You know, after a 5-minute conversation, y'all, it's hard for her to even remember who was with her 5 minutes ago. So that's why everybody is taking turns staying with Mama. And there's enough siblings to do that. So what a wonderful thing to be able to let her, at this point, live out the rest of her life in her home, because she's been there for so many years. Now there could come a point, you know, where it might have to change, but at this point it doesn't. And so she's blessed, we're blessed that it can be done that way. She's 92 years old, 92, 93, and worked hard all her life. I know she taught me a lot. Have a lot of respect for my mother-in-law. Okay, we got them in our steam canner. So I'm going to bring it over here. I've showed y'all this before. What was I canning? Oh, I think I was canning pizza sauce or something. And I'll bring you over here. I'm going to put my lid on here. The steam canner, the lid has a hole back here. You want it to go to the back. Turn your heat up enough that this start coming to a boil and it'll start steaming. Okay, this is our gauge right here for the steam canner. I'm in zone 1, which is this blue right up here. You have to figure out which is your zone. There's different zones here on top of your steam bath canner. And they will tell you, you can even look it up online. Once I see this gauge, come over here to this, it looks black, but it's a very dark green. Once it gets over here in this green, I'll start timing it. And I'll time it for 20 minutes, but I don't start that timing till I see this gauge come plumb over into here. But that's because I'm in zone 1 in the blue area. Okay, our gauge is coming over in here into the dark green, which is where it needs to be for me in my zone. You may have to adjust your fire, whatever, sometimes. And then if you look back here, if you can see that steam is coming out. So I see the steam and it's in the area that I need. So I'm going to start timing it for 20 minutes. Well, we got our Southern Chow Chow done, and all of them have already sealed. I'm just waiting for them to cool off, and then I will wipe them down and take the rings off. So this recipe made 8 pints, but it will make at least 9 pints, because you can see I had a whole quart left over that I'm going to stick in the refrigerator, and this is what we'll be eating before we get into these. I even have this one right here left from 4 years ago that I need to start eating on too. That's the last one. But I'll put this in the refrigerator. It'll be good for many, many, many months. And I'll be using this throughout the summer for hot dogs, barbecues, potato salad, just all kinds of things that you would use any kind of relish or anything on with your beans or just anything. So you will get at least 9 pints. We're going to say that. So that's what I'll put down, that you'll get at least 9 pints. So I'm so glad I finally got this done. I've been wanting to do this for going on 2 weeks, y'all. But y'all know how it's like this time of year. Between gardening, summer's here, there's so much going on. And gardening, no matter what size garden you have, it absolutely takes your full attention if you're going to have any kind of harvest and keep it under control, that's for sure. We've had so much rain that Danny and I can't hardly keep up with the weeding, the mowing. Danny still needs to bush hog. I mean, there's a lot going on, and we're just waiting. Now, I think this week, I don't think we have any signs of rain this week. So that's a good thing. Maybe we can get some things done. But I'm just glad I got this Chow Chow done. I hope y'all enjoyed the recipe. I hope you try it. And like I said, down in my information, I will have another recipe for Chow Chow that I made 4 years ago that has a few more little spices and different things in it. So you can go back and check it out, and just in case you want it to adapt it to this recipe and to your taste. So always remember that things like this, you can always make your own. So you've seen how easy it was. It didn't take much time. It uses up stuff out of your garden. That's why they call it a lot of times the end of the garden year Chow Chow. So if you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and always comment, because I stay up late at night trying to get to as many comments as I can, and YouTube sees that, and that's what they want to see. So to keep us going, just please always give us a thumbs up. Share it too. Share it to your friends or your family, and just share it out there among everybody. But 4th of July is coming up. This is a wonderful recipe to use to take with you on your 4th of July picnic, because it's vinegar based, just like my freezer slaw, and I'll have that recipe down below too, so you don't have to worry about it spoiling as bad. So God bless everybody. Have a wonderful 4th of July. I'm going to work hard to try to get one more video out before this weekend, because we will be spending it with our family. So y'all have a beautiful, beautiful week, and we'll see y'all in a few days. God bless.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba